Hi folks, let's get back to a topic that may be near and dear to the hearts of many of you, which is smoking in the workplace. I mentioned at the end of the previous video that some employers are refusing to hire smokers. So instead of just saying, well, we'll hire you if you smoke, or we don't care if you smoke, and then we'll have smoking cessation programs in place to help you quit if you want to, some employers are just getting out of that altogether and saying, we're not hiring people who smoke. Is that discrimination? Well, let me tell you, it is. Certainly they are. But here's an interesting article that I pulled up from some of the stuff that I've been reading. And you can see it's a fairly recent article, just published in May of 2013. But it's really saying that there are companies out there now that are not hiring people who smoke. And it says a company here, it was an Ottawa-based company called Momentous that started it. And it says, since they started it, and that was back in 2000, the company has also found that their healthcare benefit costs have gone down. Employees are happier, okay, and their workplace is better. They think the overall mental health of their workplace is better, okay. So, even he says, people will say it's discrimination. Well, yeah, it is. But it's not illegal when there's he feels there's a big distinction between, discrimination that's legal and that's illegal, right? So he believes that when you get better results, happier people, happier work environment, right, and less absenteeism in the workplace, that's where they're able to control their costs, because if your workers are working and they're productive, obviously it's a lot more efficient for the company, and we're not having people sitting at home being paid because they're ill, right? So there is a connection, and there is data to prove that people that don't smoke are overall less absent from work. And that's what these guys at Momentous were saying. Now, there are some companies, just want to point this out in the article, like the World Health Organization and the American Cancer Society, they don't hire smokers, but they say, hey, the reason we hire smokers is that it kind of taints our image. Can you imagine, having employees at the Cancer Society that are smokers? I mean, there's a direct link between smoking and cancer. So the idea is they wouldn't do it. They want to hire people who can support their culture, and that's consistent with their overall mission statement. And we talked about the importance of organizational culture and vision and mission statement very much at the beginning of our course, and the role that HR plays in that. Okay, so I mean, there's still a lot of debate out here as to whether or not organizations can do it, but as I said, there are a lot of companies that are doing it, and nobody has successfully yet defended a discrimination suit on it. So how it actually works out at the end remains to be seen. But if you go down here, the University of Toronto's done a lot of studies, and it says that they have linked smoking by employees to lower levels of productivity, higher absenteeism, and more sick days. So again, if they've done that, organizations are saying, well, hey, all we're trying to do is to protect our company because we don't want to pay people for being off sick. We'd rather pay them for being here, which you can't blame them if you're an employer, right? So I guess how things shake out there remains to be seen, but we will find more employers, I think, being able to successfully defend the fact that they don't hire smokers. One of the other ways you can look at that too is you could say, well, hey, if you do hire, if smoking is something you don't want us to do, isn't it kind of like any kind of substance abuse where you have an opportunity to provide us with some kind of support so that we can kick the habit, so to speak? That's what smoking cessation programs do, right? That's what drug and substance abuse clinics do, treatment facilities. You're supposed to treat it as a disability. So some people will try and say, well, instead of not hiring smokers, why don't you just treat it as a disability and get them help if they want to quit, right? Some companies do it, but some companies are taking a much harder line. So it remains to be seen where that will actually play out. But in any case, I just thought it was a new section that was in your textbook, but certainly not new to those of us that practice HR. So you should know that some employers now are refusing to hire people who smoke. So in our next video, we're going to look at steps to reduce workplace violence and employee wellness programs.